Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to the place to be each and every Sunday night, where tonight the Sunday Night Lights train heads back to the US for not Road America, we've been there before. We're, of course, at the famous Laguna Seca. I'm your host, Alex McKellar, and joining me once again, the Doctor is in the house. Alex John, welcoming back to the commentary booth after a very long hiatus. AJ, welcome back to the broadcast. Welcome to the world of Skippies again. It's great to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be here, and an exciting track to have my, reinitiation on, because it's quite exciting around here, Alex.
Yeah, mate, the new build of the cars has been it's made this track really exciting and come alive again this season. We've seen a lot of carnage during the week because it's a free track, so we see a lot of people that we don't often see in skips coming back to the series or newly to the series, and we also then see, because of the challenging nature of the car, it's been a bit tough out there this week, mate.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But this track as well, it's pretty tough. There's a couple of big braking zones, but a lot of high-speed corners as well. So it mixes it up. You've got to have a bit of everything in your toolbox in order to get a fast lap around here. But the new Skippy, definitely something to keep in mind, because cold tyres, those first couple of laps, high-speed corners is always a recipe for disaster in the opening laps.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Look, bumper field again here tonight. The strength of field for those playing at home is 4,513 or thereabouts, which once again puts us about 500 clear of the nearest competitors. The Iberians look like they've had their race during the week, just a tick under 4K. The warm-up race tonight for this event, tick over 4K, and then the big one here tonight, of course, Sunday Night Lights, round 7, we've got 4,500. So once again, and you can see some of the names down the side of your screen there, folks. There's some big ones, and they're out here tonight once again supporting this great series at Laguna Seca. It's fantastic to be here once again, and really looking forward to a full dance card tonight, AJ.
Yeah, it's good to see a few Aussies out there as well. We've got, I think, 4 Aussies that I can see, or ANZ drivers, I should say. We shouldn't exclude the Kiwis, although no Kiwis in the top split tonight, but I'm sure they're going to be out there in the other splits. But hopefully we'll see a good running from the ANZ community tonight. But as I've seen since I've been away, the international community has just gone gangbusters, Alex, and it's really good. I'm enjoying. As a spectator, I've enjoyed watching the international community come out and give us these bumper softs, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do.
Yeah, absolutely. The charge so far after the opening foray around for qualifying led for ANZ at least by Mitchell McLeod. Mitchell, of course, he's just snuck in here. What's this, a 19-car field? He's 18 plated cut driver here tonight. He had a fantastic race at Barber a couple of weeks ago, grinning from ear to ear after it, and he's looking to lead the way once again for ANZ here tonight, although he's dropping down the order a little bit, down in 8th. But a couple of the other local hopes, of course, in young Ben Snell, he's back out there once again, representing Team Milo, of course, and another Team Milo, the joints covered light green at the moment. Oh, is John Skoltz as he lets the rear of the car do some talking there. I hope that's not his second lap, although actually it is, because he's already set one time. That'll leave him down, he's in 12th at the moment. I imagine he could drop from there once the times start coming in, AJ.
Yeah, a little bit like Ferrari at the Nürburgring the other night, just not being able to get it done in Q3. But Julian and Frey out front at the moment, so tight at the front. He's done a 35.1. You reckon they're going to get down into 34s? I think that's the time for pole, Alex.
I'll tell you what it will be. Frey this time crossing the line now. He has indeed. He's gone a 34.981. That is going to be tough to beat. Hendrickson from Team Torpedo doesn't look like he's going to beat it. Anyone left out on track? Snell now. He's done his time. He's up to 4th. That's a good time. Torres now. Let's see what he's got. If I can find it in time. He's done a 25 dead, not enough, but gee, that's pretty damn close. Anyone else left out on track? Kevin Henderson, he's just crossed the line. Toshimasa Hanada doing a warm down lap. I'm just trying to see anyone out there that might still be setting a time. I think most of them have done their 2 laps. Sammy J. Toikala, he missed out on his 2nd lap. He's back in the pits. Anthony Katner, I think most of them have done their laps here. I'll tell you what, Julian O'Fray with a 34.9, that's an outstanding time. I've done half a dozen races here this week. I couldn't even crack a 34 in practice, let alone quality, mate. I don't know about you.
Oh, absolutely not. I struggled to get into the mid 35s during the race. This track car combo, the new Skippy, certainly a tough one. But yeah, Frey all the way from France with a 34. That's great. But there's hardly anything between the top. Well, what is it? All the way down to P15, and you're within a second.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's not till you hit John Scholz, who of course nullified his 2nd lap with an incident point until you break this field by a second. So we can expect some pretty close racing, I would think, and that generally leads potentially to some issues depending on how the guys go, whether the elbows are out or not. A couple of passing opportunities here, of course, into turn 2, 3. Oh, it's turn 2, the Andretti hairpin there. You can get it done into turn 5 before you head up to the hill. The brave ones will get it done in the corkscrew as well tonight, and then of course the final corner, probably the only remaining passing opportunity here tonight. But of course most of the action will be in turn 1, turn 2, the Andretti hairpin, their double apex left-hander. I tell you what, I'll be closing my eyes almost lap 1, AJ.
Yeah, well, I always say any corner's a passing corner, Alex. So I'm looking forward to a couple of moves into turn 6. I think some guys could get it done through there. Maybe scare some guys off track into the outside. Give them a trip through the sand.
Yeah, that's it. Intimidation, you reckon, mate. Pressure to pass instead of... Well, there's not so much draft in these cars anymore, so pressure to pass might be the go-around here. I'm wondering here, as we ride on board with Rodriguez, whether or not he's actually... He hasn't set a time yet. He might be coming out for a bit of a late run here. He's got about 5 seconds before he... crosses the light. No, that's it. We're done and dusted. All right, let's go through our grid while we have the opportunity. Of course, we are here for round 7 at Laguna Seca. Pole, top of the pops. Anyone in the 34s tonight was Julian O'Fray. Great time from him. 2nd spot on the grid, Kane Halliburton from UK&I. P3 went to Juan Dalmases Torres, I beg your pardon, and I'm getting that wrong for sure. P4, Ben Snell from Team Milo, great quality from Ben. Tim Hendrickson all the way down in P5, expect him to be right up the front representing Team Torpedo, of course. Kevin Henderson, ANZ's 2nd place car behind Ben Snell, of course, in P6. He's got some pace around here, keep an eye out. Closely followed by in P7, Mitchell McLeod for Torque Inc. P8 tonight, Toshimasa Hanada from Japan. P9 went to Sasha Gourlay from Simatok Esport. A lot of pace around here. Sasha back on track this week. Of course, P10, Sammy J. Toikala for Team Milo. Not used to seeing Sammy J so far down the order. Let's see what he can do from there. P11 went to Andre Marzol from Iberia. Fran Novo Aeneas done some laps around here with Fran this week. He's in P12 from Iberia. Over the page, we've got Anthony Catt from UK&I in P13. P14, Lee Anderson, also from UK&I. David Stefanini returning to Sunday Night Lights, all the way down in P15. Still within a second of the pole sitter. P16, John Scholz, welcome return to the top split for the team, newly minted Team Milo driver. Andrei Sokolov from the Asia Club in P17. Simon Edwards from UK&I, failing to set a time, starts. As did Adrian Farinas Rodriguez in P9. Strength of field, of course, 4,500. And the all-important track temp, 21, as the drivers take the field. And Sody quite kindly reminded me once again that the race is beginning. Red lights mean rev. And the green lights mean go, and we are away tonight on this 15-lap adventure around Laguna Seca as Julian O'Fray leads them down through that turn 1 kink all the way down to the turn 2 hairpin. What's going to go on here? Expect action through here, folks, as they go 2 and 3 wide at times. Looks like everyone's made it, AJ. I did not think that was going to happen, but the quality of this field shining through already.
Yeah, Tim Hendrickson looking for the early move on the outside at turn 2 there. Of course, with the checkups on lap 1, you can get a nice little run on the outside if everyone's committing to the inside. But at that time, no luck for Hendrickson. He's had to settle in behind Snell. But oh, he has a bit of a move here down at turn 5, and he's got it done up the inside of Snell. Snell looks like he's just going to play it safe, let Tim through. Tim's fast, so I'll expect him to move up to the front of the pack.
That did cost them some time, though. The interval out to about half a second. 6/10 now, 6.5 as they run up the hill towards the corkscrew now, kicking through turn 7 into 8A and B. The corkscrew, one of the most challenging and famous corners in all of motorsports, of course. But no, they're getting it done. But the pace in this field, Hendrickson, we know he's got it and he should bridge that gap, although it still remains at 6/10. And that, as we've lost one in the background, it's Henderson. He's come off on the run down into turn 10. They're very easy to do. The rear of the car stepping out early, and that's the end of his competitive night. One of the leading ANZ drivers who had pace here all week, AJ.
Yeah, so easy to do. I don't know if he's taken a little bit too much apex curb there, but it's so easy to unweight the car and go around on the first lap while you're on cold tyres.
Yeah, absolutely. Just looking down the back of this pack, they're still too wide on the tail end of lap 1 here, and they're getting it done. I'm just wondering if there'll be some action down here towards the tail end of the field on the approach to turn 2. They seem to be getting it done. Still too wide. These guys hell-bent on getting through the field as we see the 19 car there of John Skoltz heavily involved there. All getting through once again. Fantastic start to this race, AJ.
Yeah, Rodriguez having a big, I think there's a little bit of contact there with Rodriguez and Stefani as well, but looks like they've got it all sorted. They have settled into line of stern.
That's the way to get it done quickly around here, but of course you do have to advance your chances as well. Is that gap now? Snell's got back through on Hendrickson at some point during that last lap, and what we've now got is a breakaway pack of 3 in O'Fray, Halliburton and Torres, and they've got a 1.2 second gap between themselves and the trailing duo there of Snell and Hendrickson. That incident from Henderson, the previous lap on the run down to turn 10, as the guys do that now on the closing stages of lap 2. Snell, the rear of his car going every which way but loose. That has also opened up a 1.7 second gap.
Snell's lost it.
Oh, he's gone through 10. It's that run through 9 and 10 that's catching everyone out. Oh, he's about to get collected. Oh, damn, that was nasty one there. Snell just doing the right thing there, but unfortunately he's on the racing line and nowhere for him to go there, of course. But that's cost him dearly, that small mistake, and it leaves Hendrickson now on an island on his own as he runs through turn 2 on the start of lap 3, and then this front 3 really look to have it all to themselves at this stage, depending on whether Hendrickson can now bridge a 2.2 second gap, AJ.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Those 3 up front, they're no slouches. They put in 35 dead for Afray. He's nearly equaled his pole time. The rest behind him were 35 ones respectively. Hendrickson 36.6, so giving away a heap of time that lap, but I can tell you that gap that eked out because Hendrickson had a little bit of a mistake into turn 2 that previous lap, and that was what allowed Snell to get past. But obviously just bridged that gap to the top 3, or created that gap to the top 3. But it's going to be interesting to see whether our I'd say our number 1 driver in the series so far is going to be able to break the gap to these 3 ahead.
Yeah, that's right. Tied for first place in Sunday Night Lights is Hendrickson, who currently sits in P3, and the gap's only getting bigger. A further 0.2 of a second added as this leading 3 cars are now 2.5 seconds, 0.3 of a second this lap. Has Hendrickson dropped off the pace. So these front 3 now, O'Fray, Halliburton and Torres, they are running away with it at this stage. We drop back to Hendrickson now, sitting in P4. Gourlay, McLeod, once again, leading the ANZ charge right up amongst with some of the best drivers in the world. Gourlay, no slouch in these cars, showing that he's one of the top drivers running around, and McLeod all over his tailpipe, doing it for the ANZ club.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how McLeod goes. I was, as I alluded to in the podcast earlier in the week, Alex McLeod having a fantastic run. I remember watching him at Barber, it was, and yeah, he's shown that he can get right up there and challenge for a podium. Maybe not tonight, but he's going to give Gourlay a run for his money.
Yeah, this field, despite being just a tenth, a second separating the top 15, I think it was at the end, it's really spread out through the incidents. It's really shown what sort of a challenging track this is. As we jump back now a bit further in P7 tonight, at the moment is Anthony Catt running a bit solo in an island there. Although the big surprise here is Sammy J. Toikala. He's sitting some 8.5 tenths behind Catt and having a battle with Toshimasa Hanada, the 12-plated car. The Co-Series leader tonight having all sorts of issues with the getting the skippy around here, and he qualified poorly. He's up a couple of spots, probably through incident more than anything, and looks to be, as we've lost another one. Car number 7, Sasha Gourlay, has lost it in the same spot as Kevin Henderson earlier. Let's grab a quick replay of that one, and we'll see what has happened to Gourlay, which seems to have happened to everyone. Yeah, look, on the grass, or the gravel, I should say, on the outside of the exit of 9 there, and the rear of the car let go is so easy to do around here, AJ.
Yeah, and that is the real danger with this track. I mean, you really have to push the apex to exit curb on every corner in order to get the lap time. But in doing so, you run such a risk. You hit that sand, it basically is on the outside of any corner, and it's ready to shoot you off.
Yeah, I was discussing it with Ben Snell during the week. I was running behind him in one of the races we were doing, and I was commenting on just how close to the edge of the dirt or the track that he was running, and he's absolutely right when he says that's where the speed is, that's where the extra tenth or two a lap is, but it's also where the absolute risk is, because as we've seen, 3 drivers tonight put a rear in the gravel, 3 of our front runners, and they've all come a cropper through that same series of corners where there's so much time to be gained, but the risk-reward ratio proving the wrong way for some of the folks here tonight, AJ.
And let's not forget that on the apex of most of the corners around here, you've got one of those lovely big orange safety curbs. I don't know what you call them, but just waiting there to mangle your front wing.
Absolutely. The couple of those you can ride here, but the vast majority of the sausage curbs on the apex there, fantastic to tell you where to apex the corner, but you don't want to hit them for fear of destroying something on these cars, of course. Up front, as we are at the moment, O'Fray, Halliburton and Torres now to a 3.2 second lead. Not sure if Hendrickson's carrying any damage, but his lap times are not on the same pace as the guys up front, all in the 34s. In fact, O'Fray, an undrafted 34.7 last lap, is an outstanding time, only matched by Torres in P3, who did a 34.7 as well. But that had, of course, 2 cars worth of draft in it. But whereas comparing that to Hendrickson, who did a 35.1, 3/4 tenths in there, no problems at all. As we jump back further in the field to have a look at McLeod, he's running a solo race once again. AJ.
Yeah, and I was just going through the field having a look. Looks like all of our drivers have got friendly with the sausage curbs because not a single car has a straight wing on their nose. But I can confirm Hendrickson, he should be having a straight car other than a little bit of wing damage. So equal game, or it's on equal terms with those top 3.
Yeah, look, he does look to be a little bit maybe on the front left, but nothing that should be holding him back to the extent we're used to seeing him far further up the order than this, to be honest, although he's in P4, but he has complained about not having much pace here, unfortunately, this week. But certainly at the moment, he's a couple of spots up the road from Toikala, who's on screen at the moment, down in P7, and he's got Hanada, Anderson and Aeneas to contend with in his attempt to run up the track. Oh, we've lost O'Fray. O'Fray at the front. Let's go back and grab a quick word replay and see what's happened there. I think he might have come a cropper at turn 2. He's got Halliburton in behind him on the run down into turn 2. Oh, Halliburton's brake much later, and there's just been a fraction of contact on the entry into the Andretti hairpin. The rear of the car stepped out, and both he and Halliburton have come right a cropper there, and that's blown this race wide open, AJ.
Yeah, and that is one of the big risks with this track. You got such a long straight with a small kink in it, but that long fast run down into turn 2, and it's bound to happen at some point. I'm surprised it happened this early in the race, though. The guys out front really didn't need to be going, that hard that early in the race. But what I can say is it looks like All Frey has definitely got a bag full of suspension damage. His car's crabbing and not looking like the nicest thing to drive out there.
No, just looking at his car at the moment, it is tracking interestingly. Yeah, look, that's can't be pleasant to drive. He's jacked down in 12th position and no doubt on his way to the pits this time round. Oh, there's a couple going into the pits there. I'm just trying to pick up who else it was that headed in. It was O'Fray, definitely's gone in. I mustn't have been on the right one. He's the only one that headed in there. But now jumping back up to the front, we've got Halliburton now sitting in P2 with Hendrickson looming large in his wings. Halliburton a little bit more damage on the front of his car than was previously, but it's Torres who's out by 1.6 seconds at this stage, AJ.
Yeah, well, how the fortunes change so quickly as we see Hendrickson get a little bit wide there on the dirt, but this has brought Hendrickson right back into podium contention and possibly P2 here. We'll have to see how Halliburton goes. You couldn't imagine that he'd get off complete scot-free from that incident with Orfrey, but yeah, Hendrickson on a charge and not really all that far off Torres now either.
No, he's about, 2.1 off the lead and just 3/10 now off Halliburton and looking to really get all over the back of him as we hop on board now with Team Torpedoes, Tim Hendrickson on the run down into turn 10. So many have come a cropper here tonight. A little bit wide of the apex there, although who might have criticised one of the quickest skippy drivers going around. Brakes very late into the final corner. Early on the gas as you can, leading into this long straight on the run down to the Andretti hairpin where the moves get done. Now he's 4/10. He actually lost about a tenth there through that final sector as he comes. He's not close enough here to have a look up the inside of Halliburton. Of course, we break in a straight line, but on a diagonal, as counterintuitive as that sounds, into turn 2. But Hendrickson now certainly in amongst it, as you say, AJ.
Yeah, and Hendrickson did a 34.6 that time around. Didn't register as his best, so he must have used a 1x somewhere on that lap to get that quick lap in. But I'm pretty sure that is, oh yes, and there's the 1x again. But I'm pretty sure that is the fastest lap of the race so far. So it's going to be interesting. We had Torres following earlier in that pack of 3, so we're going to get a sense of his real speed out front now in clear air. The last lap was a 35 dead, so certainly not slow, but if Hendrickson wants to challenge for first place, he's going to have to get past Halliburton sooner rather than later so that he can try and make a charge to Torres.
That's right, the pair now going through the corkscrew on the latter stages of lap 9. It's about a 1 minute 35 lap around here as we've seen tonight, so and we're certainly past the halfway point now. These two nose to tail through the closing stages, perhaps into turn 2 this time round. You know what else it does? It bumps Mitchell McLeod now up into P4, having another barnstorming race here tonight with Anthony Catt just tucked in behind him. The Cat amongst the Seagulls this week. But certainly in the top 5 and in the hunt for another great SNL result, AJ.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. McLeod, he's going to have to get out here for a few more of these top split races because this is absolutely fantastic from him. Leading ANZ driver And if he chucks in a full season, I reckon he could be right up there.
Yeah, he's doing fantastically well here tonight. I mean, he snuck in at car plate number 18, second last driver in the field, but he's making every post a winner and taking full advantage of that opportunity now up into P4. He will grab a bag full of points for both Sunday Night Lights and official season. If he's on for this position to finish as well, he grabs about 96 I rating into the boot, so plenty to play for McLeod. Of course, the Talk Inc. streamer as well on Twitch. Got a couple of streamers in the house tonight. I'm just thinking who might else be streaming would be Snell, but he's exited the server, so we can't take a look at what he's doing. But side by side now, McLeod defending through the corkscrew from Cat and doing a fantastic job, I have to say, although that's really not going to bridge any gaps for those guys. Some 4 seconds off the pace now. Back up the front, we missed Hendrickson going past. Halliburton is very wide on the exit of 10 now on the approach to 11. Hendrickson getting that job done now. He's just 1.2 seconds almost in the draft of Torres now. We ruled him out too early, AJ. Hendrickson on a charge.
Yeah, well, Halliburton, interestingly, on the previous lap, just let Hendrickson by on the start-finish line. So I don't know whether Halliburton is thinking that Hendrickson may have a little bit more pace, perhaps Halliburton carrying some damage, and is hoping that Hendrickson might carry them up to P1.
Yeah, absolutely. The battle heating up once again between McLeod and Cat. McLeod there defending into turn 1, and behind them Lee Anderson, Toy Carla side by side. Toy Carla letting Anderson go through and resign himself to P7 for the start of lap 11 once again. Jumping back up to the front, Hendrickson now. Head down, bum up. He's now within draft range as they run up the hill towards the kink. On the roll, straight there, through the kink at 6 now. Very, very challenging corner to get right, but if you get it right, you're in 4th gear, if you can believe it, up the hill now into turn 7 on the approach to the corkscrew once again, and he's closed the gap. He's inside a second now, 9.5 tenths, and he's gapped Halliburton, who's now 1.2 behind, and that's potentially why he's let Hendrickson go there. He might be carrying some damage from that incident, AJ.
Yeah, Halliburton, no doubt, would be happy with third after this. Still a bag full of points for him. But Hendrickson taking the Rossi line through the corkscrew that time around, getting a couple of wheels on the dirt. But he's right in touch now with Torres.
Yeah, absolutely. Jumping back to our battle for 4th and 5th. Cat all over the back of McLeod still. Might hop on board with Cat as he takes a look there. And let's see if we can't grab... Oh, wrong one. Hang on. There we go. Where did McLeod go? Side by side they run into the Andretti hairpin. And on exit he's got it done. Cat now jumps up the position and takes 4th, AJ.
Yeah, McLeod still be happy with 5th, 3200 or 3300 I rating driver, but racing well above that. But knowing McLeod, I'd expect him to have a bit of a fight back with Cat at any moment. Perhaps that move into turn 6 that I mentioned.
Yeah, it could well happen. It's a tough side-by-side run through 6 as they head up the hill now. You can see the leaders up off in the distance there. McLeod showing the nose, but certainly perhaps trying to get a bit sighted for the apex at 6 there on the run up the hill there. Once again, tucked in line astern. Now Hendrickson, he is just 0.6 of a second behind as we come with just... It'll be 3 laps to go when they cross the line this time as they head through 9 now down into 10. The tight right-hander. When I say tight, you can take that one in 4th as well. This track's got a lot of flowing pace to it. Very challenging. Down into the 1st gear, left-hander. And now we've got Hendrickson all over the back of Torres as we reach the closing stages of this one, AJ.
Yeah, and just a shout out for a couple of the guys further back in the field. We've got Rodriguez, Edwards, and Marzal all racing quite closely together. And quite a good job from Rodriguez. He's up 7 positions from where he started, right at the back of the field.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a few going around. Just behind them, you got Edwards and Marzal, as you say, side by side. They look to have been dropped a little bit by Rodriguez in front of them, with Hanada and Aeneas going toe to toe just ahead of them for P's 8 and 9 respectively. Toykala and Anderson still going at it by the looks in 6 and 7. Meanwhile, up the front, just 3.5 tenths behind, we've got the battle for the lead with Hendrickson all over the back of Torres now. The 1 and 3 plated cars going hammer and tong at it, no doubt, for the final 2 laps, AJ.
Yeah, and you know what? That last lap around, Hendrickson put in a 34.4 without an off track as well, I might add. So that is a legit fast lap with the tow from Torres there in P1.
Yeah, playing possum perhaps with his talk of being slow around here. It is draft assisted, but 34.4 is also lightning fast. As we hop on board, I might try this again. Hop on the gyro in a sec from here. We're facing the wrong way, but we can fix that maybe if I get it right. We're on board with Hendrickson now. Jeepers, this manual camera work's not doing me any favours. There we go. Is he going to have a look? That's the question. He's got 2 laps to go. He shows the nose, takes the tighter run in, but no, he is sitting behind Torres once again through the Andretti hairpin now on the approach to 3. Nothing doing here, folks. Perhaps saving it to the white flag, AJ.
Yeah, I think he's going to wait until the last lap, try and make a move down the straight going into the final or the penultimate lap. But it's going to be interesting. I'd expect Torres to be holding that inside line hard to the left, so Hendrickson's going to have to try and get it done around the outside, I'd tip.
Potentially, yeah. They're very tight through here, up the hill now into 6. It's going to be interesting. It's just showing the nose, becoming sighted. It's very difficult when you're running so close to spot that apex at 6, and it's, of course, one of the most challenging corners you'll ever see up the hill there in 4th. And then down now into the corkscrew again. Hendrickson's showing the nose to tail now, down through the right hand at 8A. The second corner there on the corkscrew, running down the hill now once again through 9. Using all the track there was Hendrickson showing the nose into 10. He's really putting pressure all over Torres now, AJ.
Yeah, and all credit to Torres. He's driving absolute pinpoint precision, apex to exit. He's got a good run here as well, so that's going to make it tough for Tim, but it's very hard to defend from the draft in these cars, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. We will try this once again if we hop on board with Hendrickson now. Looking, I've done the wrong one again. He's definitely found the pace there, and he's managed to almost get it done, although Torres, defending brilliantly there, has managed to hang on to his position, and really it's Hendrickson with all the work to do now, AJ.
Yeah, Hendrickson's just got to be smart about this, because we saw him have a little bit of a look into turn 3 there, but that actually cost him a little bit of time going into turn 4. So potentially he's maybe not going to get a run down here into turn 5. He's just a little bit too far back. He doesn't choose to dive up into turn 5. Turn 6, we know is not really a passing opportunity. He has a little bit of a run, but I wouldn't expect him to dive here. So perhaps trying to get a good run, and he does get a good line through turn 6 there. He may have a look up on the outside of the corkscrew, possibly. Torres taking the inside line. Oh, he jinxed to the left. He's going to have a go. They're going 2x2 through the corkscrew, but Torres, that is fantastic defense from Torres there. And it looks like that is going to seal Torres the win.
Absolutely. Fantastic defence. Fantastic driving from both guys there. 2x2 through the corkscrew. Not easy to do. Rhymes. It's like Dr. Seuss, but it's certainly not easy to do in a Skippy or any other car around here. And he got it done fantastically well there, did Torres. And that's all it took to get him across the line in first place, as we see Hendrickson have network issues so close to the line. I wonder if it's just cost him his position. Because
yeah, I'm not sure. I just had him drop as well, and he's falling down. Oh no, he's showing back up in P2 now. So he may come back.
The network gods smiled on him there. I thought he might have lost his position. That would have been heartbreaking. What a battle that was. Why don't we go back and have another look at the replay of those guys coming up the hill, if I can grab it. Where did he go? TV1. Okay, so we'll ride on board and see what it was like going through the corkscrew 2x2 for these guys here. And I'll see if I can actually get the camera work right. And you see, look at that snappy turn in from Hendrickson there. Torres, he did a fantastic job of defending here. And as they approach the corkscrew, runs quite a natural line there, leaving the door open. And then as Hendrickson looks up the inside, leaves him just enough room. And the two that Hendrickson forced to take the outside line through the second apex, and that was all she wrote. Compromised his speed enough that was the final opportunity that he had. And fantastic drive from Torres there, AJ.
Yeah, great racing right down throughout the field. A lot of those battles continued right up until the last lap. Cat and McLeod for P4. Cat getting the better of McLeod there. McLeod, they would have to be happy with P5. But yeah, interestingly, Sammy J. Torkala not able to make really any inroads in this race, Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't we check out where the drivers finished after all that? Round 7, of course, here at Laguna Seca for Sunday Night Lights. Juan Dalmasas Torres with a fantastic drive, qualified in third tonight, up 2 positions and drove a really smart race. He sat there in P3 for quite some time, and then when things went his way, he grabbed the thing by the scruff of the neck and held onto it for dear life with a great drive. Tim Hendrickson for Team Torpedo in P2 tonight. That'll put him on for the lead of the Sunday Night Lights Championship and may actually help him bridge the gap a bit with Toy Carla in the official standings as well. Great drive from Tim, who we counted out a bit too early and he came back and nearly proved us all wrong. Well, certainly did anyway, finishing in P2. P3 tonight went to Kane Halliburton, of course, from UKNI with that unfortunate incident in the mid stages of the race with O'Fray, and didn't quite have the pace to go on with it after that, finishing in P3. Anthony Catt in P4 with that battle between he and Mitchell McLeod for Talk Inc. For 4th and 5th respectively, raging right until the end with just a 10th separating them. Catt driving through the field up 9 positions from where he started. Fantastic drive. Lee Anderson from UKNI in P6. Sammy J. Toy Carla for Team Milo. He's finished in P7, well down the order by his standards. Perhaps he'll be back bigger and better next week. P8, Fran Novo Oneas from Iberia. I think that's probably his best finish that we've seen in Sunday Night Lights. Congrats to him. Toshimasa Hanada, similarly up in P9. That's a great result for Hanada. P10, Sasha Gourlay, who was... he was not where we're used to seeing him for Simatok Esport, but in the top 10 nonetheless. And Adrian Farinas Rodriguez in P11 for Iberia. UKNI Simon Edwards up 6 positions in P12. Just going over the page, Andreas Marsel from Iberia in P13. Julian O'Fray, after leading several of the laps and doing so in style. That unfortunate incident with Halliburton, of course, relegating him to the pits, and P14. David Stefanini in P15, returning to Sunday Night Lights this week. John Scholz for Team Milo, finished where he started in P16. Good to see John back in the top split. Andre Sokolov in P17 tonight. Kevin Henderson, after having pace all week and qualifying as such, unfortunate incident for him, lost the rear end and relegated himself back to P18 and 4 laps down, retiring before the finish. And our only other retirement was ANZ's Ben Snell for Team Milo, who again, very unlucky, the rear stepping out on him and then holding his brake and being collected by the oncoming traffic. Unfortunate part of motor racing there. Strength of field, as we said, was 4,513, and Tim Hendrickson, after we ruled him out as being self-proclaimed a bit slow this week, he's done the fastest lap with a 34.4 AJ. That's lightning fast around here.
Yeah, that is insanely fast. And I'm sad to say more than the second faster than I can do around here, Alex.
Yeah, it's pretty handy. I'm just going to see if I can't find a good spot to kick the replay off for. Oh, I might turn the volume down a bit while we just get ready for some interviews here. Our first interview, we'll go in finishing order as we always do, is Mr. Hendrickson. Mr. Tim Hendrickson, welcome to the Top Split TV commentary booth, mate. Quite a race. Now, we said during the race, you've said you're a bit slow around here, but you had the fastest lap, and we'd written you off at one point, but through incident
Wow, thanks.
and then some quick laps, you managed to get back into it.
I was really surprised, in all honesty. Yeah, this is definitely one of those tracks I'm really weak at. Always have been, no matter the car. And to be honest, get lucky and snatch a P2 was unthinkable going into it, really.
Well, mate, that last run through the corkscrew was pretty spectacular as well, mate. Side by side, I thought Torres did, and yourself both did fantastically well through there. Torres driving some pretty defensive lines, but doing it pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, I really haven't done any side-by-side racing at this week, so I honestly didn't know how to approach, like, overtaking someone, really. So I thought I'd just give it a go on the inside of the corkscrew, and just lack of experience made me cut the corner too much and bottomed out the car. Rear end of the car came round, and as soon as you do that, the move's just not sticking because you won't get an exit out of the corner. But yeah, I really can't complain about this week. I'm really happy with the result.
Yeah, awesome, mate. Well, that puts you on top of the pops as far as Sunday Night Lights goes, and I think perhaps helps you bridge the gap in the official series a little bit with what's it, 244 odd official points as well. Top split of the week, which is a fantastic result for us, and no doubt a good night out for yourself, mate.
Definitely. Very happy.
Yeah, very good. All right, mate. Well, that's Team Torpedoes, Tim Hendrickson, mate. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Of course, Team Torpedo for being a brilliant team, and my teammate Ryan Hewitt for being incredibly supportive during the race and calling out all the mistakes I made because he's such a good guy. Love you, Ryan.
Very good. Such a supportive environment, mate. I'm sure it's a pleasure to drive in. All right, Tim.
Very much so.
Thanks for joining us, mate, and we'll talk to you in the coming weeks.
See you later, lads.
There you go, AJ. Team Torpedoes, Tim Hendrickson certainly sounded surprised. I mean, we know he's got pace. He didn't feel that he was competitive here tonight, but certainly, when luck goes your way, it takes a bit of luck to get a good result in some of these races. And not only did he get it, but he made the most of it.
Yeah, well, if the front three had have perhaps settled in for the entire race, I think he would have been sitting in P4, and P4 is still a respectable result in a field like this. But importantly, he's put 5 spots between himself and Toy Carla. So, as you said, plenty of handy championship points tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'm going to try and find Mr. Snell here on the scoreboard, and we'll bring him up for a quick chat. Hello, Mr. Snell. Not the race you were looking for here tonight, mate. What happened there? Looked like the rear let go on you a bit.
Oh, I don't know what I've done. I don't know what I'm doing it most of the time, apparently. I don't know what I've done this season, but man, I cannot get any good luck.
Yeah, we saw he started really. I mean, the quality was great. I think you were in P4, and then Hendrickson had a look up the inside of 5. It sort of and then he's traded places once or twice there through. I think Hendrickson made a mistake, and then you went by, and then you lost the rear. I think down the hill. Mate, very easy to do. In fact, several people made the same mistake, and then of course you got tagged on the way through from the chasing pack. Certainly not the luck you were looking for, I would have thought.
No, I was actually really happy with the quali. I did make a small mistake as well, and I was a little bit bummed about being 4th. I wanted to be on the front row, but it's what it is. It is what it is. Then, of course, Tim was pretty aggressive on the first lap, so I went, all right, you can have it. I didn't want to fight with Tim, lose the top guys. And then, of course, I let Tim through, and then he makes a mistake. So we dropped off the back of that lead pack, and I know Julian was like bloody quick around here, so I was just over driving, trying to make sure I didn't drop the pack. And of course, doing that means I made a mistake and ended me race because I'm sitting on the outside of the last corner going, I can't move because if I drive forwards, I'll do a grabbo and kill half the field. And I just sat there and waited for someone to come through and plough me, and eventually someone did.
Yeah, mate, we caught footage of it. I thought you got away with it there right until the end, and then it was just like watching a train wreck in slow motion, unfortunately. But yeah, bad luck tonight, mate. But hopefully things will turn around for you. I know that you're enjoying the car; it's a lot of fun, and the pace is still there, obviously, in the top 5 for quali. So hopefully some of that Hendrickson's luck tonight will rub off on you in the coming weeks.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, all right, mate. Well, anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Of course, big shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast, bringing all these fast guys out. Good to see AJ back up in the booth. Hope you had a good call tonight, mate. And of course, go Team Milo.
Go Team Milo indeed. Well, thank you, Ben, and always a pleasure to have you here. And all the best for next week, mate, and we'll talk to you then.
Yeah, I'll see you guys.
There you go, AJ. That was Henderson disappearing off in the background of the footage, and about a lap before his ANZ compatriot Snell did the same thing. Such a shame for Ben. He was on for a good one.
Yeah, well, thanks for the kind words, Ben. All I can say is I think I had a better call than his race tonight. But hopefully he gets those spins out of his system. I said in his stream before, you get them all out now. But obviously there was still half a spin left in there.
Yeah, look, it's easy to do. Like I said, I recounted that conversation that we had during the week, and the rear of the car, and he's right. He's described it very well. If you get 2 wheels on the dirt, you're usually okay. It's when you just get that lone soldier on the tyre, particularly the rear on the outside of any corner, and the rear suddenly wants to become the front, and you're around, and that's certainly what appeared to happen to Ben tonight. So risk reward did not roll in his favour tonight, but certainly did for us in terms of the race and the field that turned up, and for that we are very grateful because they put on a great show once again. On your screen, folks, in just a moment, I'll just click us back to the start here so we've got a clean screen to look at there. On the screen, folks, now is where you will find us, all the different places you can see us, both live and in replays. AJ, I don't know how close you are to streaming any racing on the books this week.
Yeah, look, I'll be doing a 200Ks around Bathurst in the Legend on Saturday. So no streaming yet. I've got limited bandwidth on the uploads, but I'll chuck it on YouTube overnight while everyone's asleep and no one's using the internet, I think.
Yeah, perfect. Of course, where you can find us is on your screen at the moment. The Discord server is where we do the interviews, of course, on the broadcast from. The new podcast where AJ and I cover Donut Gate is up and live at the moment. And the replay for this race will, of course, be on the YouTubes presently, or at least when I upload it. Top Split TV is where you'll find us here on Twitch, of course, and the latest happenings on Facebook. But for now, folks, that will about do us. Thank you for everyone who joined us on track and in the audience tonight and participated in the chat. Thank you and welcome back to AJ, of course, and thank you to our absent friend whose explicit channel, Corey Has No Life 13, is also listed on your screen. All right, folks, thank you once again for joining us. And until next time, on behalf of Alex John, the good doctor, I've been your host, Alex McKellar, and I will say ciao for now.